In this example, we're going to talk about type conversion. This is actually converting from one type to another type. We'll talk about the primitive types, the numeric types, and you'll see other type conversion later in advanced exercises as well. We're going to concentrate on implicit and explicit type conversion and how you're going to define that. This is an explicit type conversion. We're taking a signed byte and we want to convert it to an unsigned short. So we explicitly state this on the right-hand side here, the type. Now you can use it in other areas. You don't have to use it on the same line. For example, if we do this, and then we say later, US is equal to U short, we're explicitly saying this. We're stating it. So implicit is implying it, but that's without this keyword there. So we're implying it. We're implying that we want to make that change because the compiler knows that this is a signed byte and it knows that this is a unsigned short. So if we try to do this, let's see what happens. Doesn't happen. We can't implicitly convert a signed byte to an unsigned short. That's not going to be allowed. Let's look at why. Well, a signed byte ranges from -128 to 127. That's the range. So an unsigned short starts at 0 because it's unsigned. You can't have negative values in there. So implicit is going to guarantee that the conversion is going to work, otherwise you're going to know about it. Well, if it's going to guarantee that it's going to work, then it has to automatically not allow certain things to happen, like a signed byte to an unsigned short. So if we wanted to do that, we have to actually say, okay, compiler, we know this is a signed byte, and we're going to take care to make sure that we don't put negative values in there. So let us do it. I want to do this. I take the responsibility. You're guaranteeing that you're going to watch your code, or you know that the code is going to be okay, so you explicitly state that you want to make this change. Not a big deal. Well, then the compiler says, all right, well, you're on your own. Good luck. It succeeded. It says, make sure you take care of things, but when we actually go to run this, wait a second. -2 is not 65,000 something. This is another problem here that we have to worry about. So when you explicitly convert, you have to make sure you're explicitly converting from this type to that type and staying within your range. Otherwise, you're going to get freaky results. You're going to get results that don't fit into what you want to. So the idea behind it is to try not to cast if you don't have to. But a lot of times you get things back from the database. You get different types that you're not used to. You want to fit something within another database value, or you want to use something within your programming, and you happen to have types that are crossing there. So you do need to convert, and you do need to worry about casting, is what you call it, when you cast from one thing to the next. So, and a lot of times you're integrating with third-party software, third-party libraries, and they have something specified as something else, or you have your developer that you're working with down the hall, and he loves using U shorts, and you're like, well, I don't like using U shorts, or somebody's using something that's too big, and you want to implicitly cast down, or you want to explicitly cast down, or whatever. Well, you can do it. So, but you just have to keep an eye on it. So it's not something that's so easy just to throw around there. I have a couple of tables in your data and value types. Implicit numeric conversions and explicit numeric conversions. Well, if we look at the implicit first, very easy to see that if we're trying to convert from a signed byte to something else, from to, then we can only go to a short, int, long, float, double, or decimal. We can't go to a U short, U int, U long, etc. So that makes it easy to understand why. Because this is signed and these are unsigned. Implicitly has to be guaranteed, so it has to be able to fit in that range. Well, that can't. A signed byte wouldn't, but a regular byte would, meaning that we're not talking about negative numbers, so of course a byte is definitely going to fit in the bucket for a short, a U short, an int, U int, long, etc. as we go up and get bigger and bigger and bigger. Same thing with a short. A short can fit into anything bigger. It can't fit into a byte. It could, but we'd have to use an explicit in that case. But to guarantee it, it can't. And you can also see, as we move down, even char is available here. And note that you can't actually implicitly convert to the char type. You have to explicitly do that. And also, you can't implicitly convert a Boolean or a double or decimal types. So you can look at the system.convert classes to see that as that comes up. And also, there are no implicit conversions allowed between the floating point type and the decimal type. So just some things to look out for as you're working with your type conversions. We can see the explicit numeric conversions. Well, explicitly stating it, we can go from a signed byte to a byte, to a ushort, uint, ulong, or a char. It is allowed. You just have to make sure that you're not having any problems with the sizes of your data types, the sizes of your variables, because you're guaranteeing yourself, you're guaranteeing your program that it's going to work, and otherwise you're going to get strange things happening in your program. You could also get exceptions, so things are going to happen. You just need to make sure you're staying within a range. You can also test for those ranges after you do the conversion to make sure it worked, to make sure you're within a range. Do a test before you convert it to see if it's allowable, and then you can put some ranges in there too. Well, if it's less than 0, then you want to convert it to a 0, or you want to not convert it at all, and you want to maybe raise an error or something like that, an exception.